People not from the Western world. What's something Westerners eat that makes you wonder why the heck would you eat that? My family's been living in the States for a long while now. My parents don't buy celery that often unless they're planning to use it for a dish. So, when my parents saw me wash some stalks then take out the peanut butter, they were like, making ants on a log in class is what helped me like celeries as a kid. But I guess it's not a thing in Korea, or at least for my parents' generation. No clue about now. My parents weren't into the celery with peanut butter. Too sweet, they said. But then my mom takes out the mayo and uses it as a dip for the celery. It was my turn to go though it honestly didn't taste as bad as I thought. A family friend from South Africa commented on pumpkin pie once. Wait, you put pumpkins into pie? Why would you do that? I am ethnically Korean, but I was born and raised in Argentina, with American citizenship. Our family loved making Argentina-style barbecue, asado, every weekend. I married my very Korean wife who, during the first 1 year of having asado, she loved it, but now, she just can't understand how our family loves BBQ meat so much. But she just loves having asado and kimchi. Best combo ever. Greasy barbecue washing off with the tangy, refreshing kimchi. Regions that produce a lot of cattle, Argentina, Texas, are going to have a culture that has a lot of beef in their food. Regional cuisine. Turns out barbecue is a great way to cook a lot of beef. I'm half American, half Indonesian and grew up in several countries. Didn't move to the States, Nick specifically, until I was in my 20s. My roommates were trying to figure out American things I had missed out on growing up internationally and they were blown away that I never had a PB and jelly sandwich. I was hesitant to try it because it's such an odd combo, but man, they made me one and I was like, dang, this is good. Also s'mores was something they introduced me to one summer. I was used to eating cheese on graham crackers and never thought of it as a vessel for dessert. A Japanese colleague of mine was straight up offended when he saw we Brazilians put mashed potatoes and batata palha, which is like tiny thin potato chips, on our hot dog. I didn't tell him my mom also puts carrots, corn and other vegetables on it. He'd go crazy, haha. To be fair, after seeing Brazilian pizzas and now reading about mashed potatoes on hot dogs, one would think you guys were taking fat bong rips when cooking. To be honest though, mashed potatoes and mushroom gravy on a hot dog sounds amazing. I grew up in Jamaica. When I first came to the UK in 2001, I started school and primary education. Everyone in my class liked fish fingers, but no one could convince 7-year-old me to eat it because coming from an island, I know fishes have fin. I love them now though, but I only started eating them about 5 years ago. Also, I had never seen white sugar before. In the Caribbean, we predominantly have brown demerara sugar and to this day it is still my preferred. Jamaican who came to Canada, I was also surprised by white sugar, lol. I traveled to the States once and I was excited to have hash browns considering we were at the source, but they were completely different from what we have at home. The hash browns I had were from Denny's, but a lot of you have mentioned Waffle House, so I'll definitely give it a try when I come back. Something I've found is that hash browns tend to vary a lot depending on where you get them. They're all good, but it seems like each place has their own spin on it. My mom is from a village in Burma. When my mom and her family moved to Macau, then a Portuguese colony, they were served ham for the first time during the trip. My grandparents thought it was raw meat and the entire family, grandparents and their 10 children, left their ham portions uneaten. My parents are now in their 70s and just in the last 2-3 years got open-minded enough to try medium rare steak. They like it but still view it as a you will get sick food. My dad developed a cold a week after eating medium rare steak and blamed it on the steak. I'm a Western person, but I lived in a remote jungle village in the South Pacific for a few years. I'd always have a tin of milk powder in my bush kitchen for making tea and coffee. My language helper wanted to know why the tin had a cow in it when it was white powder and not corned beef, the only cow in a tin she knew of. I explained the origin of milk powder and how in my country we get it slightly fresher as a liquid and many people drink it. She was totally grossed out that white people love to drink cow breast milk. Living in a remote village with no refrigeration, she had never had milk, cheese, yogurt etc, so when I explained how we ferment milk to make those, she started gagging. Chinese American here. Grew up eating Chinese food at home, but I had enough contact with other Americans to know Western food. I remember being baffled in first grade when a parent brought in a raw veggie platter with dip. I thought you'll eat raw broccoli and cauliflower? Me too, until I went to college and learned to like raw veggies real quick, or else I was going to wind up with some kind of nutritional deficiency. Haha. Go to love dining halls : When I vacationed in the US, I ate briskets and those other meats that are smoked and or charred. I forgot what it's called, but it tastes heavenly and I miss eating that. When I was teaching in Korea, the concept of sweet rice pudding tended to really confuse my students. That and Marmite, of course. I can't tell you about whether it's common in other parts of Asia, but it would consistently confuse the kids to the point they'd bring it up in later lessons or other teachers to see if I was making fun of them. It was like how Westerners felt about Koreans putting sugar on garlic bread. Marmite is a spread. It tastes like someone rubbing salt on their knuckles then punching you in the mouth, but in a good way that makes you crave more. To be fair, Marmite confuses everyone. Steak. But this is coming from someone who grew up buying meat from stores that aren't exactly sanitized, so we have to make sure they're very thoroughly cooked. My GF's dad is the same. Gets his steak well done to this day. Live and let live, I say, but when I told them that in the country I grew up in we eat raw pork on the regular, he thought I was joking. Escargot. I come from the southern part of India and I still cannot comprehend how people treat snails as a delicacy. You could cover anything in garlic butter and I'd eat it. My fiance was born and raised in Korea, and I got a kick out of sharing my childhood foods with her. One of them was Pop-Tarts. She was so confused why anyone would eat stale breaded crumbs filled with crappy jam or chocolate. Turns out a lot of people think Pop-Tarts are weird. Thank God she loved flaming hot Cheetos though. For your information, the only Pop-Tarts I'll eat are brown sugar cinnamon. That's the good stuff. And I'll eat it raw, non-toasted once every blue moon. Beans for breakfast. What? Why? In Kenya, and most of Africa, we use beans as stew and eat it with rice chapati for lunch or supper. Why would anyone want to eat spray cheese? There's something about that radioactive yellow color and the tangy taste of the preservatives that immediately activates the brain's pleasure center. Shoot that crap straight into the back of my throat. Give it to me in an IV. I crave its mysterious pleasures. Germany has something called Met. That is seasoned minced meat. Uncooked. You eat it on bread or half a bun, then it is called Mettbrötchen. Since there is a law specifically for producing and handling any ground beef minced meat, raw or cooked, it is safe to eat. German sushi. I use it to make burritos. It's way better than standard ground meat. Cheese. When my mom encountered cheese for the first time, she thought it was something that had gone bad. She's from a small village in China, by the way. Well, to be fair, cheese basically is milk that's been allowed to go bad in a controlled manner. Monte Cristo sandwich. Deep fried ham and cheese sandwich, dusted with powdered sugar, served with jam. WTF Americans. For your information, I tried it at Disneyland Blow Bayou as a tourist after lots and lots of online recommendations. To be fair, I thought the same thing before I had one. Hear me out. I'm from Southeast Asia. In our country, avocado is like a fruit dessert. Usually, we eat it as it is or we mix it with powder milk. Or better yet, we use this to make ice candy. It surprises me a bit that someone is using this as a spread for a sandwich like a tomato. American here. I used to think the best use of avocado was guacamole, but then I had an avocado milkshake from a Vietnamese restaurant. The item itself isn't a specific Western thing, but the cooking style is. Ramen noodles. I'm from a Southeast Asian country and instant noodles are very common. We don't call it ramen either, since ramen technically is a specific type of Japanese noodles. It's odd to me that in Western countries it's seen as something to eat when you are dead broke, have no other options. And the most important thing is you'll usually eat it plain or with barely any added ingredient seasoning. Where I come from, we have instant noodles in a huge variety of flavors, mostly spicy flavors, and we usually add a lot of veg or meat, egg, etc. Many of us, of all ages, also tend to eat it as supper or dinner food if we're lazy to head out, so it's not just a college thing. Eat it plain because you can't afford to put much else in it when you're a broke college student. I guess just what's the deal with french fries and ranch dressing? It really depends on the ranch. Not all ranch is created equal, but the good stuff is amazing on seasoned fries. A friend's Asian mom from Hong Kong said that she had some problems with the concept of cheese, rotten and fermented milk. Also my dad also from Hong Kong said that crawfish was also looked down upon because it was gathered in mud. But now considering I'm in California and he's still back in Louisiana, text me like and butthole pictures of him and my mom eating crawfish at a boil telling me look how delicious they are. The cheese thing is hilarious to me because us Chinese people love stinky, fermented stuff. Look at fermented tofu, which, incidentally, is very much like cheese in texture. My South African cousin was pretty offended by corn on the cob. That's food for livestock. That's a your cousin thing. South Africans definitely braai corn. Freaking Vegemite. After 4 years in Australia I am a proud convert. Still thinking what the thought process was behind this. American. My wife is Chinese and they did not understand peanut butter until they had some. Now every time I go back to China I have to bring some with me. They tried popcorn and even with butter and salt they still did not like it. They also loved hot chocolate and the Texas Roadhouse. And they were amazed at how much free coffee you can get if you wander around town. To be fair, most Europeans don't use peanut butter either. All of the exchange students I've known had never had a peanut butter and jelly before, which is crazy to an American who grew up on them. A few years ago I was at a party with a very international group of friends, where we all made various dishes together to eat later. A Slovak guy and a Czech guy decided to make sushi. They'd brought a Finnish sushi cookbook. This was taking place in Finland. A Japanese student started looking through it and I'll never forget the look on her face. That was the day I learned that a lot of the sushi varieties that are staples here are not authentic at all. It's like pizza. Italians are shocked by everyone else's version, too. I'm British in China and I introduced my Chinese boyfriend to these foods' methods of cooking. His verdicts are: cheese, disgusting; olives, disgusting; toast, can't get enough of it; yogurt, so tasty; scrambled eggs on toast, delicious; pasta, so-so; tomato soup, nice; guacamole and tortilla chips; ate the chips, left the guacamole; hummus, beautiful, eats it with a bowl and spoon; burrito, wow, what it is? Ribena, so nice; cereal, why people eat this? Milk and wheat; mashed potato, heaven; pizza, so tasty; boiled egg and soldiers, okay, cool; pancakes, lemon and sugar, utterly in love; couscous, he prefers rice; dry grapes, cool; roast potatoes and gravy, left the potatoes, he just wanted the gravy; cheese, disgusting; and pizza, so tasty, does not compute. Overly greasy food. I remember seeing food carnivals that have many deep fried food, like fried Oreos, fried Snickers bars and other fried food. To be fair, a lot of the attraction to food like that is the novelty of it. It's not something I could normally find. Maybe twice a year is it available where I live. Black pudding. From the UK. Pork blood, pork fat and oatmeal, all mushed up into the shape of a hex sausage. No offense, but what the frick. I had a friend from Vietnam who was disgusted by cereal. He didn't know why adults would not only drink liquid from a cow's udders, but that they would also pour it on crispy wheat rice cornflakes and eat it, soggy, with cow boob juice on it. I feel like even Westerners outside of the UK get confused by beans on toast. It's so cheap and tasty though. It appears it's only considered weird in America by some, which is my experience too. Shouldn't have been so general, lol. OMG, I'm French and I discovered baked beans and beans on toast only last year. I was 19, and my god is it good AF, but absolutely not cheap here, as the food is imported. A can is more expensive than in the UK. In the UK I've seen somewhere sell Philadelphia cheesesteak sandwich that consisted of thin cuts of steak cheddar and Philadelphia cream cheese on a baguette. I've had cheesesteak when traveling to the US and it sure as crap, isn't that? OMG, as someone from Philly, this is blasphemous. I'm American and y'all would freak if y'all seen my great grandma's cookbook from the Great Depression. Y'all like some opossum and applesauce? I've not had a possum, but I've had plenty of squirrel. I bag a few every year to satisfy my odd Appalachian tastes, and they are good if fried with Cajun seasoning. We all grew up basically eating poor, Depression era food in the mountains and hollers. I'm from Southeast Asia. When I was studying in the UK, my ex's mother replaced rice with barley seeds. Where I come from, barley is commonly made into a sweet drink, so I was really perplexed seeing barley on my plate with chicken and broccoli. I took so many photos for my family and friends to see, lol. The first thing I ever ate when I got off the plane in the USA was a big greasy slab of pepperoni pizza. You gotta understand, I ate only fish, pig or some kind of bird with rice beforehand. Seeing that for the first time made my stomach churn till I was encouraged enough to finally take a bite. And holy crap if I wasn't singing A Whole New World with my taste buds after that. Soon after I tried burritos, tacos and nachos, and I within a year was obese. God, I am. Seriously, though, sorry for your gang. Hot Cheetos or any spicy chips. I'm from Peru, we don't really like so many spicy things. When I came to America, I've seen that almost everyone, especially teens, love hot chips. I tasted some. Now I'm always buying a bag of Takis. We had a Japanese exchange student attend our school for a while, Australia, who was freaked out by chip butties and chips Angus. Not so much the food but the amount of food. I have small, size of teacup plates and just pick more food if I'm still hungry. Go to the States and my mind is blown with the enormous plate size, not to mention the stacking on the plate and a side serving plate. Went to this Texan barbecue place and I was only able to finish 1/3 of it and I felt like I was stuffed to the brim. Was looking around and was amazed that people were able to finish off the entire thing. There are definitely a lot of people that finish the whole serving, but a lot of people will only eat some of the serving at restaurants and take the rest home. Very situational though, but basically everywhere low to mid-range that would be normal here, at least for me. In our country, a pancake is more like a crepe, and we put other thing in it and roll it up. I personally don't really know how is the maple syrup and butter can fit on a pancake, but we have a different thinking when it comes to pancakes, so that is a reason. It kind of melts into the pancake like if you dip bread into soup. It doesn't sit on top of the pancake, it gets absorbed into it. When I got to America I thought, why is there no rice and why are there so much beef? BC I only eat fish, rice, veggies, chicken and pig. Why are there so much beef? Because the plains ain't good for raising much else. I find it weird that pancakes are considered as breakfast food. It's just cake and sugar and it make more sense to be a dessert. The pancakes themselves don't usually have much sugar in them, but I see your point. I vehemently disagree, but I see it. Weird deep fried food. Worked at a food festival and was surprised at all of the booths selling deep fried Oreos, Ferrero Rochers, Snickers, and butter. I remember cringing hard every time someone asked me to direct them to the butter booth. Yeah, most of that stuff is kind of a novelty. They aren't a staple. We have wheat fields, not deep fried butter fields. We can neither confirm nor deny the existence of deep fried butter fields in the South. Move along. Nothing to see here. I love American style coffee, especially like at a diner. I've found Europeans don't appreciate that. Eating at a diner is an experience, and it brings back so many different memories for everyone. From being drunk at 3:30 AM and just wanting food, to going on those family road trips and just wanting a burger around lunchtime. I wouldn't call diner coffee amazing and I wouldn't call it awful, but it evokes memories. I tried to explain buffalo chicken with blue cheese dressing when I was in Thailand. No one believed me that you would dip fried spicy chicken in moldy cheese mayo. I mean, when you think about it. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.